Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chasing Labels. And here we are back once again to do another Criterion Collection Blu-ray review. This time, we got a couple more new ones for you. We're here in June of 2026. And guys, it's getting really trashy in here because we got John
Filthy.
Waters all over the place.
Very
the Pope,
true.
the Pope of trash. John Waters has got a couple more new releases out this month, and each of us have gotten both of them releases. Andrew,
Yeah, I got one, and Steven got one. I got the 4K UHD edition of Desperate Living, and Steven, I believe you got the 4K UHD of Hairspray.
hell yeah.
Very interesting because this was good. This is the month of John Waters from Criterion, and there's not much left that Criterion hasn't put out.
I was gonna say like most of the notorious trashy stuff they've really gotten and cleaned up and done things with. That's weird that we say we're cleaning up a John Waters.
Yeah, what is fascinating to me, there are some movies out there that don't even have high definition releases yet. And yet we're getting two John Waters films, one in Desperate Living and one in Hairspray. Hairspray a little more beloved than Desperate Living. Desperate Living is not one of his most beloved films. But yeah, if you're keeping track at home with all the movies that Criterion has put out from John Waters, we have Multiple Maniacs, Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble, Polyester, Desperate Living, and Hairspray. I believe that's all of them so far.
So far, yeah. I would love to see some of the more, I wouldn't say mainstreamy ones, but I'd like to see something like Serial Mom, which I've seen and loved. I know the other, I think, who else? Who put that out?
So Shout Factory's put out a Blu-ray of Serial Mom. Crybaby's been put out on both Blu-ray and 4K from Kino. Yeah. Cecil B. Demented has been put out on Blu-ray by Umbrella, which I literally just ordered for my birthday present to myself.
Ooh, nice.
And the only two that don't have a high definition release off the top of my head are Pecker and A Dirty Shame. A Dirty Shame being his last movie that he did in 2004.
Isn't he working on something
Johnny Knoxville?
He's working on something new, isn't he?
Yeah, the thing is, from what I understand, it's kind of stalled because he can't get the funding for it. Remember, it's supposed to star Aubrey Plaza, and it was announced that she was going to be in it. Then she wasn't going to be in it. I think she was, but they just can't get that movie off the ground because of funding and stuff like that. But these two movies obviously were funded. You could use that term very loosely when it comes to Desperate Living, more so with Hairspray. But I don't know, which one do you want to start off with first? Or do you actually, before we do that, there are other June releases from Criterion that we have to mention. There are a couple of them here. Charade got a 4K UHD re-release. That is the movie starring Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn, directed by Stanley Donen. One of Cary Grant's last movies, I think his second or third to last movie. 5 Easy Pieces got a 4K UHD release upgrade. That's been put out a couple of times. It's in the BBS box set. It also was put out, I believe, individually, and then now it's getting a 4K release. There is a release called West Indies, The Fugitive Slaves of Liberty. There's a release called High Art, Hairspray we know, Desperate Living we know, Magellan, which is a more recent film that's getting a Criterion Premieres release. And then we have an Eclipse series set. We have Eclipse Series 6, Carlos Sora's Flamenco trilogy. And then we have It Was Just an Accident, which is the Jafar Panahi film from last year, which I thought was a Criterion Premieres release, but it's not. It's a legitimate 4K Criterion release. That was the movie that won the Palme d'Or last year. So we've got quite a mixed bag of diverse movies for June.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know which one you want to start with.
I could start. Okay. Both of these releases come out on the 23rd, so we're a little ahead of the game. So if you want to get a good idea and look into now. Look, if you're I think if people are buying John Waters movies, I feel like that they're already fans most of the time.
Pretty much, yeah. These are you're either a fan or you're going to become a fan, or maybe you won't become a fan at all.
I mean, look, everybody buys differently. I know for sure I'm somebody that will just buy something to see if I like it, but typically I do a little research. And if you do research into John Waters, you'll understand that he might not be for you. And also, I think I think you could find his movies on streaming, and there's ways to watch it if you really want to before you buy something. So I would say maybe watch some of these movies if you can before you decide to buy them. That's just what I would say.
Mm,
But
it's ironic that you're talking about Hairspray, which is probably his most accessible movie, and
well,
probably a movie that non-John Waters fans will either know of or have actually seen because it was turned into a Broadway musical, which
yeah,
then turned into a movie adaptation of that
which
Broadway musical.
the musical's not really the same as this. I mean, not really.
Basic, it's same basic premise, kind of.
Yeah, but
It
like,
doesn't quite get as political or as culturally relevant, I think,
yeah, I was
as
gonna
the
say
John
that
Waters
that's
movie.
and I think for me, and I think John Waters has been a slow burn for me. Like I think I've really liked some of his stuff, and some of his stuff, you just like experience it. Like Pink
Mm.
Flamingos is like you're like, okay, this is crazy trash. Like, but there is stuff there, and you just kind of gotta like dig through the garbage to find it. Um, uh, and so like going into Hairspray, this is something I hadn't seen before. Um, I think I've seen the musical when I was younger when it first came out before I saw this. So I don't really have I didn't have a great knowledge of what this was going to be. And so one thing I do know about John Waters is that he's from my hometown in Baltimore. It's where I'm
Yeah.
from. So there's a personal connection for me. Now I obviously didn't grow up there and I didn't live through the 60s and 70s in Baltimore. So he's got a different point of view, but really like watching this film and then hearing him talk about like what was going on. Like there's a great interview in here with him about talking about like the music and like what was going on in Baltimore at the time, like really made me connect a lot with this movie and like wanting to learn more about all of his films. So this is a good entryway, I think. But Hairspray is set in Baltimore, and it's like early 60s. It's like coming out of the 50s, like where like these like dance shows were like very popular at the time, where kids would go on, it'd almost be like a MTV of the time. Kids would go on, they would hear music, they would dance, they would kind of have dance offs without it being really cool. It was just everybody like, you see it in like Austin Powers. They're like, down, it's like the whole room's full of that for many hours. And the local kids would come on and like do these dance things, and people would vote on who had the best dancing during the song. It's a whole kind of thing. It's a cultural thing from this city at the time. And they were doing this in other places, but this is kind of centralized on Baltimore here. And Ricky Lake, who I think is most famous for her kind of daytime show that would come
In the
later.
90s.
Yeah. I remember living through that time and my mom watching Ricky Lake, watching all them kind of daytime shows like that. Now, of course, we got like Drew Barrymore doing, the daytime thing now. It's kind of weird. But Ricky Lake, this is her, I think, first role, right? And so at the time, she was a lot more plumper at the time. And now she's, a lot more trimmed down. Now, apparently the funny thing is during this movie, they had a hard time keeping her plump because that's what John Waters wanted. He wanted a plump girl, somebody that had some weight on her, but through all the dancing, she was losing weight all the time. So they had to keep feeding her to keep her in the shape she was in. But Hairspray is essentially that story, and just kids kind of hanging out in this kind of clique of these kids that are doing this dance thing, and then kind of how it intermingles with the culture. You got dealing with race, and you're dealing with love, and you're dealing with all different type of dynamics. And really listening to the interview with him on here, it really brings great context to the whole thing. And I think it's essential to actually listen to him talk about this movie, because I think it enriches it a lot more. And I know for some people that's like, well, the movie should just stand on its own. And I think I agree with that. Like I do. I think a movie should stand on its own, but I think it's also great when a movie asks you to like look deeper. I think that's curiosities. I think was what keeps us human, keeps us like, having happy lives, being curious about things. And I think that this movie is very accessible, some great music in it, some fun characters. As you can see, Jerry Stiller's in here playing Ricky Lake's dad. And then, like, of course, Divine's in here. Once again, was her last role. And yeah, I mean, you've
Yeah.
seen it too. You know Hairspray.
I
You've
have
probably
seen.
seen it more times than I have.
Well,
So
I've had it on DVD. I've had it on Blu-ray. I'm gonna get that 4K again, so I'm gonna own it 3 times over. And what's so interesting to me, why I feel like it's so accessible, is because it is like a teenage angst type of movie set in the early 1960s, but it's also like a a thematic cultural touchstone movie as well, because it's all about like anti-segregation and intermingling
yeah,
between the black community and the white community in Baltimore in the early 60s through dancing, through this television program and the fight behind it and all that kind of stuff, and how the older generation, the old people who are like running the show and the parents don't want any of that to
it,
happen, but
it,
the
it
young kids want it to
it's got
happen.
a Footloose vibe in there. You know,
Yeah,
like yeah, yeah.
it could, yeah, even right away, like the divine characters, like, yelling at um the Ricky Lake character, these kids with
Turn
their
down that
dancing.
turn down that
Yeah,
racket.
turn down the music because all they want to do is listen to the new music, do the new dances, make up new dances. It's it's that 60s counterculture that many people know of, and many movies that were made during the 60s commented on it, many movies that were made afterward, and many TV shows, many movies now are touch upon the counterculture of the 60s. So Hairspray is very much about that. It's very political, very, anti-tradition, normalcy, and that's all of what John Waters has always been about. I mean, even I'll get into Desperate Living soon, but this movie is so anti-culture. It's insane.
Yeah.
But Hairspray, like you said, has a great cast of characters and actors. Sonny Bono is in the
Honey
film,
Bono. Yeah.
who of course, one half of Sonny and Cher, which was a massive show back in the 70s and whatnot. And he plays the rich father of like the main rival of the Ricky Lake's character.
Yeah.
And he puts all like the money into making his girl like the best dancer, putting her on the show, making her number one, and all that kind of stuff. While Tracy Turgeon, the Ricky Lake character, she's the opposite. Like her parents are like working class. Her dad owns a joke shop of all things. Like it's of all things. The mom is like a stay-at-home mom. Like right when you meet Divine in the movie, she's doing like she's doing laundry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just a fascinating like dynamic when it comes to the difference in culture, difference in class, difference in society, and all centered around like the love of dancing as well. And the dancing in the movie isn't like well choreographed, it's just so expressive. And what's so great about the dancing is that dancing in and of itself is so, uncoordinated. It's so non-traditional because so oftentimes you're just like gyrating around.
Sure.
You're just making up stuff. You're not really in control. And the movie's all about like fighting back against the controlling aspects of society. So I really loved it for that aspect of it. And of all of the John Waters movies, this is his least filthy movie. It's
Yeah,
his
yeah.
least
That
trash.
I've seen so far, I would
It's
say,
so
yeah.
straightforward. It's his only PG movie I think he ever made. Yeah, it's his only PG movie he ever made. Um, and it's just amazing how straightforward it is and how people who are not even John Waters fans, like I said, have attached themselves to it. I'm really glad that there's like some extra features on there that are
Yeah.
really awesome as well.
Yeah, the, new conversation with Waters, is really great. There's also, a great conversation with Ricky Lake and, the rival, actress,
Colleen Fitzpatrick.
Colleen Fitzpatrick. And then
And then
there's,
there's
like it
older stuff too.
yeah, there's a lot of there's some stuff from previous releases. There's also, like, reflections from a lot of the other actors, on the film, and it's kinda like more audio version. There is visuals, but it's more of an audio, kind of,
Yeah, I got
compilation.
the same thing
So
on Desperate Living as well. They did the same thing where it's a bunch of the actors kind of giving their audio, and it'll be like a video essay,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah, essentially, yeah. But, it looks great, colors popping, looks good on 4K.
It's definitely probably one of his best looking movies.
It's what I really thought was interesting was, like, noticing the some of the set design. It gave me kind of Tim Burton-esque feeling sometimes, especially Ricky Lake's characters like home. Like some of the
You know
frame
what it looks like? Edward Scissorhands.
yeah, it's some
That
scissor
like
hands. Yeah.
that type of society, that
Yeah.
white picket fence society, because I think, like, the way the moms were dressed in that movie, the way the kids were dressed in that movie, with the wild big hair and
Yeah.
the weird clothes of the '60s too. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that as well.
Yeah, it's got that kind of like it's all clean, but you could just tell that nothing's like quite right. Like there's something like the picture frame's a little crooked.
Yeah, it's like
Like it,
dingy,
yeah,
like a little faded.
yeah,
Um,
and of course the acting kind of plays into it as well. Especially Divine, who knows how to say his dialogue, in that way. I think that he likes, that very like there's something going on here, like
yeah,
it's kind of, I think honestly, like how Divine acts in his films reminds me of how actors act in Yorgos Lanthimos films now, like this very like I'm aware of what's going
yeah,
on.
kind of like
Like
it
we're
reminded me
playing
a
this
lot
is
of the way people acted,
this world we're in's a joke, and I'm just like I'm
and
along
I'm
for the
here for it. Like
yeah, yeah,
quirky, kind of like
yeah,
quirkiness,
yeah. It's hard to describe, but it's this very
self-aware,
like
very
awareness.
self-aware.
Yeah,
Divine was an interesting actor
yeah,
because he did things outside of John Waters, but that's really where he fit the best was in John Waters'
yeah.
films. And right towards the end of his life, which I think he passed away, I think right after, or right
It was
before
right
this movie.
after sometime. Yeah,
Yeah, he was going to be on Married with Children. Actually, he was going to have an
that's
arc, like
awesome.
an arc on Married with Children, that sitcom from the 80s and 90s,
Love it.
and which he would have fit in right away on that show. That show was definitely about
That's
trashy people.
for sure. Um, but to get a shot of the inside here, you got
Very
the
good, very bright.
Corny Collins, the show, of course, that is at the center of the movie. You got the 4K and Blu-ray here. Yeah, really nice release.
Yeah, I like the artwork on that. I love how bright and just
Poppy looking.
poppy it is.
Yeah, pop art looking kind of thing going on here. Love it. It's
Yeah,
just definitely. I think. I mean, I don't have everything the Criterion's put out of his. I think the only one I think I got Polyester. I got Pink Flamingos, and I have Multiple Maniacs, and now I have this. So I'm missing, of course, Desperate Living
Female Trouble.
and Female Troubles. I don't think I've watched Polyester yet. I've watched Pink Flamingo, which was I had to watch that one because I knew that somebody eats shit in that movie.
Yeah,
I was like,
that type of movie.
I have to watch this just because. And yes, it's not necessarily like, oh, I love that movie. That was fucking. But it's an experience. It's one of them things
It
where
really
like
is.
it's
The outside of Rocky Horror Picture Show and Pink Flamingos, I think are like the midnight movie. Like it's the movie where people watch and interact with the screen and get loud and get crazy and all that kind of stuff.
Similarly, Multiple Maniacs is kind of similar in that way
Yeah,
too.
but Multiple Maniacs it's even rougher because it's an earlier movie.
Yeah.
So it's even like lower budgeted, if that's even possible. These movies were made on shoestring budgets, like in the middle of absolutely nowhere. As the movies go along, though, like Hairspray has like a budget and money behind it. Desperate Living, not so much. Desperate Living was shot in the wintertime on a farm in Baltimore, and you can tell, and that's where all the sets were built, and that's where all the people hung out. The extras were all like homeless people that they barely even paid. It's such the opposite of Hairspray, which is so fascinating that they put out both of these at the same time. That's as good a segue as I guess we can get to moving on to Desperate Living. So this came out in 1977. This was the movie they did, John Waters and his merry band of filthy people did after Female Trouble. This is the only John Waters film up until Divine passing that Divine is not in at all. And that's kind of perhaps why it's one of his movies that isn't remembered as fondly as the others. It is missing that extra spark, if you will, that extra something, that extra divineness that was brought to the John Waters films and that John Waters world. Kind of the anchor. As crazy as it is, John Vine is the anchor of like the early John Waters movies. In Multiple Maniacs, in Pink Flamingos, in Female Trouble, like the story revolves around the dynamic, iconic presence of Divine. And this doesn't have it. Divine, I believe at the time, was doing a play in England. So obviously scheduling wasn't feasible at the time. But this movie is one of his filthiest. It's one of his filthiest and one of his trashiest. This movie stars several people. Let me get the cast up here. Usually it's people that are in the overall, oeuvre of the John Waters world. Liz Renee, who actually was someone who was a gangster mole or a former gangster mole that John Waters was just fascinated by and wanted to get in his movies. She apparently was like the FBI like arrested her, and she never gave up any information about the gangster she was involved with and all that kind of stuff. So it was just an icon that John Waters wanted to work with. Mick Stoll, a John Waters friend and favorite, was in this movie. Susan Lowe was another person. Edith Massey, famously the egg lady from Pink Flamingos, is in this movie. And this movie is like a demented, deranged fantasy movie done by John Waters. It starts off pretty straight-laced. You have Mink Stoll and her maid kill her husband, and then they're on the run. And they end up in this place called Mortville, which is this dingy, deranged fantasy like place where Edith Massey plays like a queen in it, like a fantasy. She's like the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland. And it turns into just an odd movie that literally offends everyone. It offends straight people. It offends gay people. It offends trans people. It offends white people. It offends black people. It offends everyone. And the movie is insane. The plot is basically Mink Stoll and her maid, played by Jean Hill, as a character called Griselda Brown. The names of these people are insane. Edith Massey is Queen Carlotta. She has a daughter who's a princess called Princess Cuckoo, who wants to marry or is in a relationship with a garbage man who's also a nudist, and she hates that. I'll tell you, this is insane. And
I love it.
She gets like carried around and has these unsexy sex scenes. There's unsexy sex scenes throughout this entire movie, random nudity, just trash everywhere. It's just incredible. And the whole time, this movie is an anti-fascist movie. It's anti-totalitarianism, it's anti-monarchy, it's anti-fascism. It's all of that within it, because these people end up rising up against Queen Carlotta in the end of it all. But this movie famously has the meme or the gif, "I Hate the Supreme Court" by Mink Stoll, which probably many of you have seen going around online. Many of you have probably used it before. That's from this movie here. Mink Stoll is just yelling out her lines because she's just a manic mess the whole movie long. This movie is so hard to describe without watching it. And that is John Waters in a nutshell. You can't really explain it. You just have to experience it. But going into it, expect low-budget trash. But I say that in the most endearing way possible, because his movies are truly unique. Like, nobody else was making movies like this or really makes movies like this at all. And that's the endearing factor of it for me, is that just how incredibly courageous they are, because they're just people making a movie on a whim. No real big, no budget, no studio behind it. They built the sets using trash they found around town to build the sets with, nothing behind it. Ironically, a lot of the early John Waters movies were distributed by New Line. New Line at the time was an independent production company and distributor long before they became a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. They've been part of Warner Brothers now for what, like 20, 30 years. But back in the day, they were an independent studio. I think it was run maybe by Bob Shea. I think it was Bob Shea back in the day. But either way, John Waters has a new interview on here where he talks about the production of the movie. He talks about the making of it and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, new conversation between John Waters and film programmer Christina Cacioppo. That runs for about 34 minutes long. It's a really nice, brand new interview from this year. And then there's a 13-minute video when he goes back to the set of Desperate Living. So he goes back to the farm where they built all the sets and shot the movie, and he talks with the owners who own that property now, and they've seen the movie, and they just kind of reminisces about like where things were around the property and stuff like that. It's really eye-opening and really, really fascinating. There's an audio commentary on here with John Waters and Liz Renee. I think that's from 2004. And then there is this is the new interview with actors Susan Lowe, Mary Vivian Pierce, and Mink Stoll. That is audio only with shots of the movie over it and stuff like that. And that was done, I think, at the Criterion Studio because the Mink Stole makes mention that she just watched the 4K cut of the movie and she said it looks fantastic. Fantastic is a very loose term. This movie is very dirty looking. Probably shot on 16 millimeter, very low quality. So the fact that it's on 4K kind of blows my mind because I don't know if that necessarily would have upgraded the visuals at all. Other than the costumes are very bright and things like that, but everything else about the set is very dingy and dirty and all that kind of stuff. That's a really great interview, them kind of reminiscing about how they all got to know John Waters and how they've been friends for decades and how they were involved in making the movie and their role on the movie and just reminiscing about making of the movie. And there's an interview with the production designer, Vincent Peranio, who that's an older special feature, and he talks about like building the sets and designing the sets and stuff like that, and a lot of props that he still has from the movie and all that kind of stuff. Really good just overall special features package in general. And I just love listening to John Waters just talk and reminisce about him making his movies. But yeah, that's Desperate Living. Truly a unique experience. But chances are, if you're a fan of John Waters, you know what you're getting yourself into. Let me just open this up here. Not as brightly colored as the Hairspray one for obvious reasons. There's a dead rat on a plate, just to give you a vibe of the movie.
I love it.
And then there's I think it's one of these. Is it one of these fold-out booklets or no? Yes, it is. One of these fold-out booklets that I'm not a huge fan of, but at least on the back here you get certain pictures from the movie of the different characters and stuff like that you can see. All right.
Awesome. Well, I'll have to get around to Desperate Living one of these days. But yeah, we hope you got something out of this review. The Criterion sale is coming up here in the next few weeks, so it could be a great time to pick these up at your local Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, or the other John Waters releases or the other releases from June. They will all be part of the sale whenever the sale arrives towards the end of the month.
Yeah.
And if you got stuff to catch up on from the rest of the months, now's a good time to do that as well. That's what I do.
Well, yeah, I got a long list of Criterions I need to get, but
I need to upgrade my list actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah. But yeah, excited for another sale coming up. Yeah, dangerous times for me. But that is it for this review. Of course, you can also, buy Criterions almost anywhere where they sell movies. And of course, Criterion.com is a great place to do it as well. That's going to be it. And we will see you next month with some more new release reviews. See you next time.